Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Bars Closing. It is Wednesday, May 18th. Griffin gets a special shout out, the first to chime in with "What a day!" 4 exclamation points. Absolutely, positively. We have a ton of stuff to talk about. Before we do, though, let me remind everybody, trading futures, options on futures involves substantial risk of loss, not suitable for all traders and investors. Oftentimes in futures trading, you have a high combination of leverage and volatility. Although that can be an equation for opportunity, it's also an equation for risk. So be careful. Only fund your futures trading account with risk capital. My personal definition: money I can afford to lose, doesn't change my lifestyle, doesn't lengthen my retirement horizon, or doesn't overly stress me out. I know that everyone is unique and different in this world. It's my personal definition, but be in a good spot, be comfortable. Stress really does matter. Hang on one second. Sorry, we had a little dog controversy there. Trade on a real time. Trade on a real time simulated live. Oh, that was funny. NinjaTrader trading platform today. Easy on the day trade margins. You always get a lot of leverage as it is already with respect to futures trading. And none of this should be construed as trade or investment advice. All right, let's get back to it. Sorry for the rocky start. The dog was up here rolling around. We got this carpet up here, and she was rolling around making all sorts of racket. And we were trying to extradite her from the room. We successfully were able to do that. Thank you for your patience. Bernadette, Mom and Dad Kicks, good to see you. Don't jump out the first floor window, Mom and Dad. It'll be okay. BK, Reno Jim, Tim, Paul M. Thanks everybody for coming. If I missed your name, I apologize. Appreciate everybody being here today. But wow, what a day! This is unique. This hasn't. When was the last time we saw this? Was it March 2020? It was the pandemic, maybe. We've seen this kind of complete just destruction, if you will. If you're short, it wasn't destruction. If you were short, it was happy days. That's for sure. Down 161 in the S&P. Looking at the other stock index futures, NASDAQ 618, Dow Jones 1,142. Holy cow, big day. Looking at the bonds, though, let's look at the treasuries. They're all up. The Ubers are up. Ultras are up over 2 handles. The regular 30-year over pretty much a handle and a half. Everything is green here in the treasuries. So money is flowing, in my humble opinion. We talked about that a little bit earlier with Jimmy today, Jimmy Urio at our event. Hopefully you were able to attend. I thought it was pretty good, very interesting for sure, and a heck of a lot of fun at the See Your Futures event that we had, and that we're going to have every week. In any event, we can go through all the asset classes real quickly here. We're making yearly lows. We're getting close to yearly lows in all the stock index futures. We're not there yet, but we're getting off the coast. Remember, there's a dangling wick that is dangling out there from a couple days ago. We'll take a peek on the daily charts a little bit later. So I do have a mini up, and I want to show you something kind of interesting here. We have this consolidation around S2. It happened around noon, right? So S2 pivot, area of interest for the pivot. Finally, some consolidation, but no buyers whatsoever. And finally, a candle broke on all the way through. S3 is down here. S3 seems like a far stretch, but I don't know how far it is, to be honest with you, at this point. So trade idea right now. This is a micro. I just want to try to I got a little bit of an area, support and resistance up here. I'm going with the trend. I'm going with the indicators. I'm going with the overall bias. And it just, to me, suggests like there will be no buyers today in this particular market. I could be wrong. We could have a retracement of some sort. I don't even have a fib line in right now. It would be too ridiculous. But there's my rectangle. There's my target. See if we can get short. And again, S3 will be the profit target today. I know there's not a lot of time left, but anything could happen in these markets, as we know. Again, this is COVID type of behavior when you see this kind of price dislocation. Juan says, could we have anticipated this big move down? I mean, I don't know. I mean, after yesterday, you would think no, right? Yesterday, remember that. Let's pull up the daily chart. Let's just do it. Stop talking about it. Let's just do it. It's easy to do. Here it is right here. You know, this is just so deceiving. This is like an optical illusion. All right, so let's go back to the 13th. This was a huge green bar, high to low. I mean, look at that. Was it 80 handles? That was pretty more than that for sure. 85 plus 30, over 100, 120. Jim's going to get his math right sooner or later. The next one yesterday, we have another one, high to low, huge candle. These are buyers. This is buying activity, 91 handles. Today, I mean, so the trend coming in this morning wasn't necessarily doom and gloom. We had a long, we were at the 50% retracement on our mini retracement. We were at the 23% on the longer term annual retracement. It wasn't so doom and gloomy this morning, right? Or last night, I guess, when we closed. This morning, last night, we generated nonstop selling, high to low. I mean, you guys do the math here. It's almost 180. It's crazy. It's a huge candle, and we're still going. There's no shadow at the bottom, no shadow at the top. Could we have anticipated it? It's hard because the bias is negative, right? The bias is down. All the crosswinds are going against us. We're talking about interest rates and hawkishness by the FOMC, supply chain problems. The housing industry has about had it. Target even got beat up this morning. Not to mention the war. Not to mention China being closed down, which is affecting imports, exports big time, including copper. So all these things are negative, and the trend is negative. So if you had to, we were outside looking in and just kind of said, well, what do you think is going to happen? You would expect some more selling to come in. But again, we had that retracement back up, and you don't know when that's going to end. It's very difficult value proposition right there. So in any event, I wish I knew. I would tell you guys. I would call each and every one of you on the telephone and say, "Listen, this thing's breaking 169 handles. Just sell us whatever you can and hold it until the end." I wish I could. I didn't know, and I don't think anybody knows. In any event, we're attacking. Let's look at the daily charts while we're here. The low here, approximately 38.55, is the next target down. Right? I definitely expect us. No, I shouldn't say I definitely expect us, because I do expect us. I expect us to touch this again, maybe not today, but very shortly. I do believe it. Will we break through and keep going down? Who knows? But we'll find out. In any event, volume today is pretty high, but not extraordinarily high, which is another very interesting phenomenon. And we also talked about options expiration on Friday, which could have a little bit of an effect here as well. NASDAQ, again, target all-time. When I say all-time low, I mean this calendar year's low. That's what that number is right there. RTY, same thing, looking weak, ginormous, really ginormous, big red candle there. YM, oh boy, another one. Again, getting close here to this all-time low here, annual low here as well. Gold's kind of sideways today. Pop back up out of the channel here. I'm not going to rise to the level of saying this is basically a risk-off move. I don't think it is. I think this is just kind of normal price action here. Normal sideways price action. We have wicks on the top and the bottom that are pretty similar. Same with the previous day. So I don't think the bottom is in with gold either. Crude, nice sell-off. Finally, we had that inventory number come out, which was pretty interesting. And I will talk about that more in a second. I do want to go gasoline futures. Finally, we hit some relief here. Again, this is a big candle, big red candle. Everything is selling off, but this is a good sell-off, by the way. Hopefully that continues. Nat gas. Whoa, we got a doji. I have my E up here. Target E is up there as well. And I know we're doing this show backward today. The dog threw me off, but it's such an extraordinary day. Let's kind of look. Let's just take a peek and see what we're up against here. My treasury bonds. Money's flowing in, right? Money's flowing in 1, 2, 3, 4 days. And then again today, money is flowing in to treasuries, right? Interest rates are going up. It makes a little bit of sense. Prices are going down. And there's just a whole lot of, I'm going to use the word, I shouldn't use the word FOMO, but I think I am. I think I am. So, but also fear and greed is kicking in. I mean, there's a lot of fear here. Fear index is up high. Sellers, I guess, finally realize, hey, euro needs to go down further. I agree with that. And then last but not least, let's just look at the dollar index. Dollar index is back in bull mode again. Although, I don't know. We'll see if this is temporary or not. Keep your eye on this. Keep your eye on treasury bonds for tomorrow to see if we're going to have continuation selling in the equity markets, or we'll have some sort of drive back up somehow, some way. All right, let's take a really quick 30-second break and get back into those 10-minute charts.
You deserve full market transparency. You deserve the flexibility to trade on your own schedule. You deserve access to professional futures trading tools. NinjaTrader, because you deserve more. Start trading futures at ninjatrader.com. Capture the excitement and opportunity of crypto trading in a secure and highly regulated marketplace. Meet cryptocurrency futures. Go long, go short, you decide. Start trading futures at ninjatrader.com.
All right, sellers are back in motion here. I don't see any buying coming in today at this point. I really don't. Our target right here is just kind of sitting there. We didn't get it yet. I'm going to leave it there for now. It's 20 handles away. It's pretty far away. S&P's down 173. This has been just a pretty brutal day. I'm just looking at what economic releases came out today, and it wasn't anything that crazy. To be honest with you, mortgage applications were down as we expected, both from a purchase and a refinance point of view. Housing starts, let's see, 1.724 million versus 1.765 estimate. So that was weaker than maybe the estimate, but I think that, we know that's where the trend is going in the housing market. The EIA petroleum status report, while we're at it, let's just take a peek at the crude oil chart right here. I have a little arrow going to right when all the action happened right here. Again, when this report's released, these candles activate. They get moving on that first 10 minutes, right when that number is released. And we had, crude oil. Where's my crude oil inventories number? It's on the scroll right there. You can see it cruise by. But the really interesting one was the gasoline inventories, actual minus 3.4 million barrels versus last week 8.5 million barrels. Notice the BBL at the end of the word, at the end of the number. That's an abbreviation for barrels. A lot of people get confused. Why is it BBL? Why isn't it just like BL? Well, in the old days, they had these things called blue barrels, right? And so the standard became 42-gallon barrel, but because of evaporation, they put a couple more gallons in it, and they called it a blue barrel just to make sure upon delivery, you'd get that 42 gallons in the barrel, right? That's what you paid for. So they call them blue barrels, and that just kind of translated that little factoid. So you don't get these kind of factoids in any other kind of show, no matter how hard you try. But in any event, thought that was kind of interesting. And the Fed reverse repo, I got some calls on this thing today, actually. Fed reverse repo facility usage jumps to a record 1.973 trillion. That's kind of a normal thing, though, in a raising interest rate environment where basically banks are borrowing securities from the Fed. The Fed has a lot of them to kind of keep a floor on that interest rate, overnight interest rates for them, keep a little bit of support there. So that's kind of a normal thing. But since I did get some calls from it, I thought I would just mention it today. Let's keep moving here. Crude again. I think it's the end of the day. We're at the lowest. I don't think we're moving any further. Let's go to bonds. Bonds are strong. I would not be looking for an area to sell U.S. Treasury bond today. Again, I think money's flowing into this particular market, and it's causing price appreciation. I'll draw a rectangle up there, and it's right by that R3. So that was kind of interesting. It blew through R1. It didn't spend that much time at R1 or the pivot, although the pivot did have kind of an early morning high around it. Interestingly enough, though, the point of control technically is still very far away, right? Almost 2 handles away lower in Treasury bonds, although we have a really big, relatively big amount of volume here that started to accumulate at 2 o'clock, right? At 1:50 to 2 o'clock handle, that volume started to accumulate for Treasury bonds, which was kind of interesting. So I think we're settled there. I think it's happy now, and everything is all pretty good in the universe. Euro's back on its way down, pretty much equal and ever since this equal and opposite, which is a really nice. This was a really nice candle formation in a relatively normal market. We know that I'm bearish here for sure. A little bit of a rally back up here, right at 940 to 950. Didn't hold it, turned around, and then we had continuation selling off of this, which I expected. Maybe I didn't expect it to continue all day long, although we did have a nice area of attempts up here around 52, 521.5. So that was kind of an interesting way to go as well. Let's take a look here at a trade idea. So again, the micros is the way to go today. And I think as Griffin pointed out, it's probably a smart way to go as well. I know Griffin was talking about maybe using as a hedge on your portfolio and that kind of thing. It's certainly a thing, right? So selling a micro E-mini S&P 500, if you have a heavy stock equity portfolio in the cash market somehow, some way through a fund or whatever, it's not that hard to do because the margin requirement for holding that overnight is a lot less, right? Where you could do it with a smaller size account and you get all the leverage and all the benefit of the futures markets by just holding that position for a long period of time. And you don't need, it doesn't need to be a 1-to-1, right? If you have, I'm just making up numbers. If you have a $50,000 portfolio, you don't need $50,000 in your futures account to hedge that exposure, right? Because of the leverage, it's a $50 multiplier or a $5 multiplier on a mini. When you're doing the math, I think you could see that you could match it up pretty well and use it as a hedge as well. Again, it's an idea. It's not my recommendation, but it's an idea of something that one could do. And that was good insight. I appreciate that, Griffin. Robert says, how do you get your net change number? Mine shows like double or triple your values. Uh-oh. I hope you're not seeing the S&P down 700 because then I have delayed data. Let me show you real quickly. If this is what you're talking about, that net change number up here on the right, there's a little, I know there's a little setting that I'll show you about net change. Where is it? Our net change display. And make sure that your unit is set at points, not at ticks, not at pips, percentage, or currencies. I have mine at points. My guess is that's why yours is different. Okay, and we're good. No, Andrew, that's a good question. And that's an interesting observation, by the way. Andrew says, hey, Jim, I know you like using fibs and this is day trading. Do you ever look at a previous day high to low fibs? No, but that brings up an interesting idea, for a really, really keen idea. And what Andrew's saying is, look at yesterday's high and go to today's low, and which you could easily do. I mean, you physically here with NinjaTrader, and you use that. I haven't thought of that before, to be honest with you. I like to see yesterday's low, which we crushed a long time, many handles ago. But I haven't done that. Well, I'm gonna put my thinking cap on that one and see if that could be helpful. But thank you for that, for sure. That's a great comment. Trade idea point of view, again, looking for places to sell. I know we're almost at, we have 24 minutes left. And again, I don't see any buyers coming in at this point. Would not be interested in buying at this point. My rectangle, I guess you could probably jiggle it up a little bit. Let's just do that. And I'm going to just move it down a notch, right? And we'll move it down to this area right here. The last 1, 2, 3 candles. Drill it up here a little bit so it looks like a more reasonable trade idea. So again, I hate to chase these things at all, period, in a story. So I'm not. But if you're going to initiate a trade now, there's a really nice point of control right there that's going right through my rectangle. So I'm going to hold steady for now. I'm going to hold steady for now, and we'll see. We'll go through the other stock index features as well, and not in a second. We'll do it right now. Systematically the same. Again, this is a systematic adjustment I feel like it was because of Powell yesterday. Probably people realized, hey, listen to what he's saying, listen to what the other Fed folks are saying, and then maybe that's driving it. And again, when I was talking to Jimmy this morning at earlier show, that was, what's the predominant crosswind hitting us in the face? And his feeling is it is the hawkishness of the FOMC, and I think he's right. And I think I've had the same feeling for a long period of time. So anyway, down 642 in the NASDAQ, pretty weak right now as well. Again, no areas to buy here, looking for areas to sell. I mean, you got the bottom of the value area, you can start drawing rectangles, but nonstop higher, lower lows, nonstop lower highs. That's what we have today so far. Griffin says, if I'm looking at things right, this is the fourth 100-point day in the last 11 days. Never seen anything like it in my life. And he's right. I mean, I've been saying this since Thanksgiving. We're in unique times. Part of the equation too is, keep in mind, when an index number gets really big, its percentage change might not be that much different, but the point difference is going to be bigger, right? So a 10% change when the ES is at 4,800, right, is 480. A 10% change when the ES is at 3,900 is only 390 points. So there's a relationship there between percentages as well that factor in a little bit, but that doesn't come close to explaining what we're seeing right now. It doesn't come close. This is really, since this has been going on, this rally here in equity markets, other than some kind of crazy price dislocations here and there due to COVID and some other things, since 2008, right? We've had a pretty sustained rally in the stock market since 2008. Interest rates have been down since 2008. And now everything's maybe it's leveling off. Maybe it's the business cycle is cycling, as they say. In any event, let's take a look here at the other stock index futures, see if there's any ray of hope anywhere. S3, boom! Look at that, Tom. You'll be proud of me. I have S3 here, and let's go ahead and draw a rectangle around it and everything. I'm so excited. We have a area of interest here. This is the Dow. Again, going long here is going to be really hard to do, especially in a non-micro, but we do have two candles anyway. We have an attempt back up. I could draw a fib line here, but it's going to be ridiculous. It really is. I'm going to draw it anyway. It's going to be an approximate one. This is such a huge chart. Fib retracement 1,100 points ago, way up there. From a relative point of view, though, we're looking at proportions, right? So here's the 23.6, 31,647. That's where it's at. Right now, we're 31,400. I mean, we're a good 250 points below that 23. We still have a lower high, maybe not for long. Let's kind of open this up a little bit. There we go. There's the view I want to see. Right there. Lower high, lower high, lower high, lower high, lower high, lower high. A lot of them. And then the lower lows start here. Lower low, lower low, almost the lower low, lower low, lower low, lower low, lower low. So we'll see if we could, if we make a higher high here, that's a little bit of a positive, right? CCI is minus 95 going sideways. Not helping us out. Moving average cross, forget about it. It's like 200. It is 200, 198 points apart. That's kind of ugly for sure. We'll see if it kind of moves back up now. Finally, we have a higher high on this bar. That's a good thing. So a couple things to think about. Are we going to have an end of day retracement to 23.6? Sometimes we do, sometimes we don't. Alternatively, what would be a good area to try to get short here at the end of the day, if that was more of our disposition? And I'm going to go over to the volume profile for help. It's like phoning a friend. Is there a clue here? There's a volume node here at 517. Could that attract some price action? Maybe for a short trade, possibly. We have this really nice kind a drive back up that was rejected at 586, where my crosshairs is as well, which above that is like a lot of market weakness here. Couldn't get up here. So this is an important level, actually. I'm going to go ahead and draw a line there. Horizontal line. Here we go. Boom, right there. So that's kind of an area of interest as we speak. I will extend this also, this other point of control as well. It's not a point of control, but this volume cluster or burst or whatever you want to call it. Oh, Jim, come on, pay attention. Horizontal line, horizontal line, horizontal line. There we go. There's another area of resistance. We have a higher high, but right away sellers came back in. Just right away sellers came back in. We'll see if that maintains itself or not. I'm going to draw a rectangle on the top now. Copy paste. We'll move it up. I'm going to position it a little bit better than it's positioned right now. And there we go. We have an area again, short-term area of what I'm going to call resistance right now. At the end of the day, on this very eventful, historic, I'm going to say, Wednesday, May 18th, the day the market realized there's inflation. We're going to call it that. The day the market realized that there was inflation. I mean, I was talking to Tom about gas prices today. I think he told me, if I have the stat right, every single state is over $4. Every single state's over $4. Jason is like sending me snapshots of $6.36 from his cell phone in California. Like, oh my God, this is crazy. Slowing down a little bit. Volume-wise on the ES, now here's another thing that's very interesting. 1.7 million, 1.75 million. On the micro E-mini S&P, 1.2 million. On the micro NASDAQ, that's 1.5 million. So that's the biggest micro. And it just seems like the volume, you would expect the volume to be bigger than it is today, to be honest with you. VIX is at 30.93. I think this rectangle is holding. I'm going to try to put, get at the top of my rectangle here, and we're going to give it a shot. We might have missed it, but I'm going to set it in there. I was talking. It's okay. It happens. So they're coming back in right now. See if we get a little bit of relief up. We're not even halfway down on that bar yet. So we have a little bit of optimism as well. S3 has already been hit in this market, in this YM market, and there's nothing below. I mean, is there even an S4? I don't know, but it's nowhere to be seen. It's nowhere to be found on the chart, if there is one. Wow, what a day. Unprecedented. Stephen says, all right, this is an interesting question. This is a really great comment. Stephen says, gold hasn't got the inflation memo. Yeah, so let's just pop over to gold really quickly while we're watching this trade get away from us. I'm going to go over to, let's see if I have it. I have gold here. Kind of ziggy-zaggy market today. And actually, this is kind of a really nice tradable day. We've spent a lot of time above the top of the value area, though. After, I'm going to say, more or less 11 o'clock. So all afternoon, we were above it, more or less, with a couple of little touch points into it, which is kind of interesting. Now we're kind of touching it again, that point of control, which is very interesting. I think we'll see if we could maintain above that and continue to trade in prices above value there, for sure. But what I've noticed is the inverse relationship, the strong negative correlation between gold futures and the price of the U.S. dollar, and as it should be. This is gold futures priced in U.S. dollars. So you see this relationship back and forth, and we talked about this earlier with Jimmy, as a matter of fact, where I said, hey, dollar is strong. He goes, yeah, it's strong against other currencies, but it's not strong against stuff, other stuff. It's not strong against gold. It's not strong against commodities. It is strong against gold, actually. It's not strong against commodities. It's not strong against this other things that you have to use domestically to buy. So depends by using the word strong. I think his opinion was, it's strong against some things and it's not strong against other things. Dollar seems strong against gold right now. I mean, it's really negatively correlated. The dollar index right now is up 0.5 0.5. You can see it on the right-hand side on my quote board there. And, it's pretty, 30,000 in the dollar index today. Pretty interesting. All the currency pairs are negative except the yen, surprisingly, and the Swiss franc. We don't talk a lot about the Swiss franc. That thing doesn't move that much, to be honest with you. Just over the course of my life, I haven't seen the Swissy do a lot of stuff to inspire motivation. Let's pop back over here again to the ES. All right, my rectangle now is no longer any good. I'm going to move it up. What time is it? It's 3:45. What we're not going to do is what we did yesterday, where we waited for the last. This was a mistake. Waited for the last minute or two to get a fill and then got stuck. Don't want that to happen today. We're not going to let that happen today. There's going to be a point in time where, okay, whatever the trade idea is, it's don't wait for the last minute. We talked about margin call and all that stuff yesterday. Anthony. So I was looking for S4. Anthony types in Audi S4. Oh my God. It was funny. That made me laugh. Thank you. On a gloomy day, that made me laugh. I'm easily amused. We're hitting that. We're gonna test the bottoms again, the lows again, right now. And it is 15 minutes, a little less than 15 minutes. So that last 15-minute bar that just started about almost 2 minutes ago, and that's when you saw that down thrust happen right here as well. At this point, this trade idea, in my humble opinion, is no longer any good. Taking it off the table, canceling it, easy to do. I'm just going to think about it now. I'm just going to watch to see if this is truly some kind of weird support at the end of the day, which I doubt. I think we're going to breach it. I think we're going to make new lows here again, and then we're going to write a book about it 5 years from now. The day the market realized there was inflation. And I don't know, we'll see. Rectangle is looking good right now, but a couple more minutes left for the next bar. At this point in time, there's just too much volatility, too much uncertainty, too drastic of a day to want to jump in a normal trade idea. We had a couple trade ideas we didn't get filled so far today. That's okay. I mean, this afternoon while we were talking, that's okay. Didn't happen. Didn't quite get up there again. Patience is one of these things that could be frustrating. Patience is one of these things that, it's like, it's not easy to do, right? It generates its own level of stress, just sitting around and waiting. Waiting's the hardest part. Somebody said that. Can't remember who. Might be Tom Petty. I think. Yeah, I got that right. I think, or you could just Google Linda Ronstadt. Sorry about that, Jason. I had to throw that out. She has a great version of that Tom Petty song. Fantastic version of that Tom Petty song. As we're waiting, kind of watching. Let's just kind of cruise through all the asset classes now. It looks like let's wait a minute and 23 seconds. What the heck? Let's wait a minute and 23 seconds. S&P down 171 and a half. Now you could blame Walmart. You could blame Walmart if you want. There's a Walgreens or Target. No, Target. I'm sorry. You could blame Target. It's Target's fault. I kept seeing Walmart, Target. They're all the same to me. It's where you go and buy stuff. It's where you go and buy stuff. And there's one of those on every corner also. Nice, equal, and opposite. We're going to see if this is like those old Napoleon ice cream containers. Green, white, and red. Equal and opposite, just hit it. Touching the bottom of the value area right now, 39.10. Real tentative though, but my guess is if we kind of break down here, we got 27 seconds left to see this last candle, what it might do. Paul says, Jim, we are at $6.50 in the Toronto area, which is about $2.10 dollars per liter. And we're an oil producing nation. The second largest deposits in the world. Go figure. Wow. That is pretty amazing for sure. All right. Last 10-minute candle, a little bit of a burst on the upside. Rectangle held on the downside. Maybe the bottom's in at 39.10. I don't know. I'm exhausted looking at this. Let's cruise over to look at some of the other markets right now. NASDAQ looks the same, flirting with the bottom again. There is more prices below the bottom of the value area, more volume below the bottom of the value area than an S&P. But at this point, it doesn't really matter because there's two. Look at all these volume nodes. We had a volume node up here, a volume node which is the true point of control, another volume node, at 92. You can go all the way back down to the existing one that's accumulating. Will probably be the point of control by the time we're done today. Look at that. As I speak, 941, 943, trading right around it. You just saw it shift down as we were talking. Amazing. Not amazing, but interesting. Wait, what do we have here? No. It's too late. It's too late in the day. I'm out. I'm taking it out. Canceling that order. I thought I did that already. Russell, same thing. Although it looks like we found a legitimate bottom in the Russell finally. Right off of S2, right? Remember, these pivot points they're going to show up in different places pretty much on different markets because it's based on the previous day's activity in that given market. So let's just do a rectangle here. That's interesting. I'm going to keep that. I'm going to remember this. S2, let's just round it up. 1760. 1760, a legit bottom here or not? I don't know. Michael Gold futures, same as regular gold futures almost, only 1/10 the size. We did sell into, remember when we started, we were trading above the value area. Now we're trading into the value area and driving back down to the VWAP as well as the point of control. Interesting. I'm bearish here in gold as well. So again, tonight and tomorrow morning, we're going to take a peek and see if there's any good tradable, actionable trades in the gold futures. Nat gas hovering around 830, pretty high, extremely high. But from a day trade range point of view, really nice volume profile. Tomorrow we have that EIA number coming out, so be careful with that as well. But point of control is pretty much 50% in the middle here. If I drew a fib line, we'd probably be close to 50% right here. Nat gas and the value area is looking pretty good. A little bit of volume accumulated up high here, I think, as the market got a little edgy. Look at all these wicks. These are like the opposite of icicle wicks at the top here. We have these big wicks, big wicks of sellers coming in, sellers coming in, sellers coming in, sellers coming in. That's kind of a nice pattern there as well. And then boom, equal and opposite candle, and then sellers took off from there. That's another really good signal right there. Let me just show you that. I'm going to circle it with an ellipse. And there we go. So it was this is kind of deceiving too, because we had a big red candle down and then an inside bar, even though it's green, it was an inside bar. Then not only did we have an outside bar, but we had an engulfing candle, which more than made up for this equal and opposite. And if you line up the bottom of that candle where it closed and the two candles ago, it was exactly the same price, I think, give or take a tick. Continuation selling, continuation selling, continuation selling all the way to 1130. That was a good signal. That is a very, very good signal. Crude is, it's over. We're at S2. We're sitting there 106. This is interesting. This is an interesting phenomenon in crude oil. We've been hovering around 110 and 111 for a long period of time. We've been over 100 for a very long period of time, which in the old days was completely problematic. I should have switched the light bulb off in people's head. And now 106, 107 area. We'll see what happens going forward here. It'd be nice to see this settle down a little bit. But given all the stuff going on globally, this is a global marketplace. Money came into bonds big time today. We're at 140 handle. Remember, we were tracking a 135 handle not too long ago. 140 handle, a lot of money kind of going into this thing, whether it's risk off or it's something else, interest rate driven opportunity, possibly. Money's coming into the financials. Euro looking bad. We're going to go to daily charts too for that. British pound looking negative. Yen actually fought back hard today. I'm trying to figure out why that happened. There was a nice rally right over R2, way over R2. And then finally, copper. Dr. Copper still pretty negative today as well. Big wick at the bottom here, though, a couple of handles ago. Buyer said, no, that's enough of that, and drove us back up. Again, this is one of these 23-hour marketplaces. It's not like the grains that have kind of a staggered day. That's not 23 hours. Copper is. And we're south of S2. S3 is pretty far away. Don't expect to get that today. Maybe tomorrow. Tomorrow's another day. All right. So those are that's just a snapshot going through all the different markets. I'm going to go over again. Let's take a look at this ES. Where are we going? MES right now. Nothing happening. The rectangle is holding its own. The steam looks like it's kind of moving out of here. We have 1.8 million on the classic ES. Let's just look at the histogram bar, see if that's moving at all. It is a little bit of volumes accumulating down here as well. Aftermarket, after hours, I like this as a target, 39.24, just because it's the point of control. And to have a point of control on a day like today tells you something. It tells you something. It tells you that buyers and sellers both believe this was a legit price. So we're about 10, 11 handles below it right now, flirting with new lows. We have 3 minutes and 37 seconds left. We'll stick here with the E-mini S&P and see if my rectangle gets completely transgressed. Is that a word? Completely driven through, beyond. Hitting rock bottom and still digging. That's what's going on here right now. What a day. For crazy, crazy day. Harker, Philadelphia Fed, is speaking in 4 minutes. You know, good thing. You know, some of these guys have a little bit of wisdom. You know, they speak when the market's closed. Others are like, hey, you know, there's an economic release coming at 9:15. Let's talk now. No, stop that. Stop that. Because when you say stuff, things are a little bit crazy. Evans from Chicago. You know, so Evans used to be pretty dovish. And now recently he's like, let's front load this rate hike thing. Let's go 75 basis points. And this is a Chicago guy. And, you know, my tweet last night was vigorish. I had to look up the word. I was like, what's the VIG? Chicago guys like the VIG, right? That's the juice you get on one of those juice loans. So he's turned vigorish. Of course, he's from Chicago. That makes sense. So that's probably not helping anything also. But he did confirm 50 basis point hike at the next meeting. Let's take a while. You know, he opened the door for this. We got another couple of minutes here. I'm going to look at the CME Group FedWatch Funds tool and see if anything changes. My guess it did it. A FedWatch tool, CME Fed Watch tool. Where is it? Here we go. Bear with me. I'm pulling it up. I'm going to drag it over. And we'll be back at the charts in 60 seconds. So don't get too crazy. Probabilities. There we go. Down to 87%. It was 91 this morning. 125 to 150 basis points. It tweaked down a couple of 3 percentages. This is going to move. We have 27 days still. 75 basis point area, 13%. So again, it shifted over a couple here. And I'm going all the way back down to my focus again, end of December 14, 2022. 50.7%. That's right. 50.7% chance that we're targeting 275 to 300. That's been stable there for a while. I mean, it was in the 40s last week. Now it's in the 50s, just barely 50. That hasn't been moving that much. So that's an interesting phenomenon, and what the market is looking forward to literally 7 months from now. So anyway, I promise we go back here at the end. We are almost close. 37 seconds left in the ES. It looks like the rectangle held. I didn't have to move it. I didn't have to adjust it. I didn't have to burn the energy with my mouse to do it. We're getting right back up to that point of control. It's an interesting number. I like it. We'll see if we could get there and beyond. 15 seconds left. No 23.6% retracement rally right now, right here. This next hour is going to be interesting. We're going to see if there's going to be cleanup. If not, tomorrow, I'm really worried about more sell-offs, right? We'll see if there's any kind of wick on a daily candle at the bottom. That might tell us something. We won't know the final end picture. We're closed right now. We're done with last call. We're in the closing time. We won't know that last bit of information for another hour, but that's kind of where we're at. Lessons learned, we stayed out. We had a couple of trade ideas, didn't happen fast enough. We had a lot of consolidation at the bottom. No need to get aggressive in a day like today. There really isn't. Plenty of opportunities on a more normal basis. We had some opportunities this morning also, and in the middle of the day. So end of the day, no opportunities, don't do anything. I know it's frustrating. I know it's, it's annoying. I'm annoyed for sure. I would like to get no position as well. But this is really nice. My rectangles are kind of framing this really nice area. I'm going to make them a little bit better here of support and resistance right at the end of the day here. So we'll see what happens here. Let's just take a look at the daily chart here one more time, even though we already did this. We're going to do it again. And I do want to remind everybody a couple things while we still have more work to do. A couple things. A lot of trading futures, options, and futures, not for everybody. A lot of leverage, a lot of volatility. Great equation for opportunity, also equation for risk. Be careful. Easy on the day trade margins. Traded with the real-time simulated live NinjaTrader trading platform today. Dollar index working our way back up. We have a lower high though, and technically we probably have a lower low. I don't know if we have much of one. 103, 235. 103, 250. So technically we have a lower low, but that's a push right at that 23.6% up. So we'll see. Be a little bit open-minded tomorrow. I don't know. I'm pretty bullish here though, overall, from an overall point of view. And this is something I think we got to look at. This could be problematic with the import-export equations as well. Yeah, we could buy a lot of stuff, but can we export a lot of stuff, right? Could anybody afford our goods and services? That's going to be a problem. I want to look at the YM because typically this has been the strongest of the bunch, and now it's not. Now, again, really nice target wick. I don't know if it's tonight or tomorrow or the next day. Really nice target wick right there. I feel like we have more downside to go. I don't think this is the bottom. And certainly there's no double bottom. We were talking about that before. Forget about that idea totally in this market. We are in bearish mode right now. Andrew says, if you trade micros, do the margins change between 4 and 5 p.m. EST? And the answer, again, NinjaTrader platform is a multi-broker platform. So you got to reach out to your broker and whoever it is, whether it's NinjaTrader themselves or somebody else, what their day trade margin policy is at the close and in that extra hour. So it just varies from broker to broker. All right, let's just also shoot over to the NASDAQ because this is painful. Again, target wick sitting right here. It's in plain sight, 11,686. I'm going to go out on a limb here. And say, in my humble opinion, we will achieve this sooner than later. Let's just make the exact right number. What is the number? The number is, let's just round it up. 11,690. 11,690. You just round it up a little bit. That target, is, in my opinion, is going to happen. I think this is weak. ES, same thing. Another target. I think it's going to happen. I think we need more flush out before common sense prevails. Or not common sense, but normalcy. We've got a long way to go to normalcy, for sure, in this particular market. But it will. It's cyclical, business cycle, things, equity markets are designed over a long period of time to appreciate. It's by design. The whole idea of companies going public and producing and expanding and doing all the stuff that companies do is, it's a normal thing. In any event, second housekeeping issue. Sorry, I already talked about the risk. Tomorrow's show, tomorrow's Thursday, we had the initial launch for Benefits of Futures with Anthony Crudele. It's been pushed back 1 week. So we got confirmation. We're definitely a go next week. So next Thursday at 10:30, not tomorrow. So I think all the schedules on the websites and everything's been adjusted and corrected for that. 1 week pushback. Today we had a great event. Hopefully you could see it still. It's streaming on YouTube with Jimmy Urio or Iorio, depending on who you ask how to say his name. He's going to be a lot of fun. And we have a bunch of cool topics with him and Bobby going forward on See Your Futures every week. It's a weekly event. We're going to keep that moving forward. Again, that's also a 10:30 event. And then on next Tuesday, Tom, refresh my memory. Who's on deck next Tuesday for Traders Workshop? We had Spot Gamma this week, which is really interesting. Oh, that's right. Oh, you're going to love this guy. So next Tuesday, we have, I'm sorry, I drew a blank mentally. I've been damaged today, down 173. Adam Fisk from Boss Trading. Adam's in Australia. And you could probably understand his English, or I should say his British. He speaks British. He's an interesting cat. He played in a rock band for a long time, but he also has deep institutional experience in this business. So we're going to see him next Tuesday. Really excited. He's really excited. We had a couple of Skype meetings with him, going through a game plan. Tom is going to be the pilot on that show, so we're looking forward to that as well. All right, real quickly, we're almost done here. Let's just take a look at what the futures hold. Let's get my economic calendar out. Here we are. Patrick Harker's speaking now. Who knows what he's saying? I don't know if it matters. It matters right now. Tomorrow, jobless claims, red star. Philadelphia Fed manufacturing, red star. I'm calling it a star. I know it's a dot. Existing home sales, red star tomorrow. So we have some things tomorrow. We do have some stuff coming out tomorrow. Michael Barr, that'll be interesting. He's not on this list a lot. Speaking tomorrow as well. And then leading indicators, I don't know what that is. Never follow that. Doesn't have a star. It's got a black one. EIA natural gas report. This will be interesting. This will be important. We have people calling for $9 natural gas. Some people calling for $10 natural gas. Everybody else in the world wants natural gas to go down. And there's a big move afoot to make that happen. But it's going to take time. They're saying 9 to 12 months before all the supply chains could be adjusted and all the sources could be ramped up for production to get some kind of stability. There actually is a big race against winter, especially over in Europe. Big race against winter to get these plans in place. So we'll see. We'll see if the pain's going to continue or if it's going to level off a little bit. And then Kashkari speaks at the end of the day in the Fed's balance sheet. And then Friday is really nothing. So these next 2 days are going to be interesting. They're going to be unique and fascinating, in my humble opinion. There we are. Sellers took over today. That's all I could say. Target's fault. All right, everybody. Again, thanks for coming. Appreciate you being here. I appreciate the community, the support. Looking forward to seeing you. Hopefully, as many of you as can attend tomorrow at the opening range. Should be fun. See what happens overnight. Thank you for hitting that thumbs up button on YouTube. Really appreciate the thumbs up or the like button or however you young kids refer to it as, wherever you're watching or listening today. Again, though, thank you. Greatly appreciate it. All right. Having said all that, we had an interesting day today, and I'm writing in my journal tonight, by the way, and you can too. It's not hard. Mine has coffee stains on it, but it's right here, and this is my journal. I'm writing in it today what a historic day it is, and I don't want to forget it. We might have to go back in our memory 5 years from now and say, hey, what happened when this happened today? And the date, just to remind everybody, is May 18th. We had to double check. May 18th, Wednesday. All right, everybody. Again, thanks for coming. Please be safe out there. Be good to each other. Thank you.